one of the huge factors that you have to look at for why are there so many African Americans on Twitter is the presence of the entertainment industry. The African American community is very connected to and very interested in the entertainment industry, and celebrities on Twitter are much more accessible than celebrities on Facebook. So I'd like to ask Kwasi, how has the entertainment industry started to kind of leverage Twitter and kind of use Twitter as a vehicle to get closer to their fans?
It's an interesting question. Twitter just launched Twitter Music last week, where they launched for the first time a music video, and it happened to be an African American artist, Filiberto, who I think we all know here. It's your favorite, right?
Yes, I am from Florida.
But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of early adopters of technology platforms, Twitter being one of them, is certainly celebrities like Ashton Kutcher and Diddy, and they've definitely driven adoption rates of various technology platforms. I think hip hop music, being that it's kind of the mainstream music of today, naturally there's kind of a parallel when you're launching any kind of social platform. When I was a bad boy, we launched the first YouTube channel with Puff. There was a reason why they went after him as opposed to CNN or Martha Stewart or somebody else who could have easily had as big of an audience. I think that trend continues. You see people like Shaquille O'Neal launching Tout, and 50 Cent with his partnership with Kite. African American artists have a presence, and one that I actually love kind of exploring. And leveraging not only Twitter, but all kinds of social media and technology platforms. I think that trend will continue, even accelerate as you see startups that are actually being launched by people like Troy Carter and Justin Timberlake, and these guys who are actually getting in not only as the first user, but as one of the first investors.
I think one of the other factors that you can look at for African American use of Twitter is the over-indexing for mobile use, mobile smartphone use. African Americans are very active on their mobile phones and on smartphones, and Twitter basically came out of a mobile sort of world. So I think that's another huge factor, along with the presence of the entertainment industry, for why African Americans are so active on Twitter.
If you think about it, just a quick point. I mean, African Americans were using, it's all the pagers, right? And everybody had the little, and we were texting was primary even before the smartphone. So maybe the networks caught up with the behaviors. To your point, Filiberto.
Yeah.
So, Kashif,
Like the sidekick, who was the most active?
Statistically, African Americans send more text messages than any other group. So that is a very, that's a behavior that carries over into Twitter.
Okay.
The interesting thing about this conversation is, I think it kind of mirrors what the issue is with society, because we're talking about narrow casting again. And the quickest thing that I saw in my lifetime that had the intensity and the speed to change the world through media was James Brown's song, Say It Loud and Black and Proud. In the 60s, we were in the middle of the civil rights movement. And, but if you called us black, it was an insult. And what was so ironic about that is that that's what we were, and we were fighting to get our piece of America and the respect that we were due. And so one week you call me black, and we were out there scrapping like two drunk men. The next week, you hear on the radio, Say It Loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And black, you call me black, and then I put my hands on my hips and I wear my ethnicity as a badge of honor. So it changed the way the world looked at black people. It changed the way we as black people looked at ourselves. It changed the detractors, the people who were not into black folks. It made them more angry, and the folks who supported us, it gave them more energy to support us with. And so as I'm hearing about the narrow casting, I'm a little bit nervous about that. I'm going to speak because I don't know a whole bunch about the technology and the Twitter and all that stuff, but I have an interest in the planet being a good place for all people. And I think that it's important to really understand what your intention is when we are utilizing this new technology, because we could find ourselves in a very funky place if we don't have our spiritual thing in mind. We're not beginning with the end in mind. And if it's all about money, then we're in trouble anyway. And so, as I'm hearing about all the technology and how we can use it to make money and gain market share and stuff like that, I would urge African Americans to not only look to the African American audience, but look to the content that you're providing to have a unifying force on the planet. And if you look at having a unified force, that naturally means that you are more inclusive than exclusive. Know your demographic, but understand in order for you to continue to grow, you have to grow past what your core demographic is and tailor your message according to what your growth is and what your original intention is. So I'm gonna be the fuzzy, flowery guy up here today. And these guys can be all techie. That's just how I'm built.
But I think the real key in why we, the provocativeness of sex, race in a 2.0 world is exactly that, as much to find the commonalities amongst these narrow caste groups as to aggregate them and justify them amongst our own. And I think Mr. Ross would like to make a comment as well, so we'll go back to Kevin on the Skype. And notice we are using a demonstration of social media technology here today as part of the panel, and I've been tweeting and posting, and anytime you guys tweet at SMWSF and hashtag sex race. And that'll help, all the folks begin to clear that conversation. Kevin?
What I wanted to add was that for me, social media is an opportunity to have control of my own brand. And what I have found is that there are a lot of African Americans using Facebook, and to the extent that they have an opportunity to promote their business, promote their cause, it's about advertising. Twitter is moving into the area of advertising. If we look at this social media peak, and I'm looking at the board and I'm seeing AOL and Nokia and eBay, these folks are making money. And as much as I go way back in terms of my love and appreciation for Kashif, I to play out his first few albums. I had every one of them. I'm going to go in a different direction in terms of this whole economic thing, because what I'm finding is that a number of African Americans, they're very skilled at utilizing Twitter and Facebook, and yet they're not using it from a standpoint of how they can complement their passion for whatever it is they do, whether it's photography or music or cooking, that they're not using the social media tools to build their business. And I know for me, this has become a business for me. When I interact with fans who watch America's Court on Facebook, that's more people that I know are watching the show. Then conversely, I'm doing my job because as a result, there are more advertisers who want to spend money promoting America's Court because they want people to watch and see their product. And I just find that so many of us, we know how to use the tools, but we're not using them in a way to really make a difference in terms of our bottom line economically. And if nothing else, I'm hoping that as more and more African Americans embrace these tools, that they really use it as a means to further whatever it is that they're into. Because we don't own most television stations, and we don't own most radio stations, and we don't own most newspaper outlets. But we have the ability to use these tools to tell whatever stories we want to tell in a way that elevates everyone and hopefully allows for folks to pay their mortgage and take care of their kids and fulfill those dreams that they are so passionate about.